astronauts. A very lean edition, I'll say. Tonight we have Curry Kitten.
Hello.
We have Tony.
Bonjour.
And Frank B. I am Frank. Hello. Yes, also. We don't have Jack on this week because he's logged in, but just lurking in the background. So
he's logged in
twice. So we'll see how that goes. We were planning to have a guest on talking about the OpenHD system, which we've posted around everywhere. So if you're here to watch that, unfortunately, it's been delayed a couple of weeks because he's got a power cut. So
sorry,
he can't make it on this week, but he'll be on the 6th of August. So this week we will be
talking about who knows what.
Talking about nothing.
Crashes.
Yeah. Tony, you've been and seen Jack this week, haven't you?
Yes, he was. I crashed my Alien. It snapped in half. Wasn't my fault. It was.
What was it, Tony?
I blamed DJI. I was doing a chase video with Danny. We were both on 100 milliwatts, and I think when he was behind me, following me, it worked all right for the other way around. When I followed him, chased him, it was fine. He said he had a bit of break up, but he was standing up, and I fly when I'm sitting and I have to sit down. And the first bit was down behind some corn round a bend. I mean, the picture was fine, but literally it just got stuck, froze. I punched up, punch, nothing, froze, please come back, nothing, literally nothing. It was just frozen on a screenshot of the floor, the stones.
Whilst it was frozen, did you enjoy looking at the stones in great detail and just contemplating how good it looked?
It's HD and just fantastic, but of course I can hear my it weren't even far away, and I could hear it going up and up and up. So I'm pulling up and up. Time I've took my goggles off, seen it line of sight, I've gone so far back it's upside down. So what do you do as soon as you take your goggles off? Punch it, and I just punched it straight to the ground. It literally went, and I just saw bits go.
I think that's the one reason I have like angle mode available, because I don't fly with it. But if I lost signal, then it's very easy just to flick it into that, and then you're not sort of like, which way up am I?
Yeah, I might have to re-put that on my. Yeah. So basically, got to do more testing now. We're both on 50 megabits, 50, yeah, and 7 milliwatts, and then. Yeah, it was just shit. So yeah, I've literally snapped the frame in half. And
how many seconds? Just out of interest, because I've heard stories about if the signal goes, it is slow to reacquire it. Can you? Obviously, it felt like 2 years, but how many seconds do you think it was where you had nothing?
Lots, 10, 15 seconds. Literally waited ages. And I was like slowly. I was just trying to think, right, I'm flying fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to come on, come back. I was like panic, goggles off, and I'd been slowly doing that. And of course,
so you're doing the world's largest power loop.
Yeah, and then when it was quite far away. Well, a line of sight away, not to know if it was upside down or whatever. Unfortunately, it was upside down, and then my punch it out, Tony, and then you'll be able to see where you're going. But it was upside down. It just literally.
So that was Danny's fault.
Straight into the fault. Yeah, so he's back under the stairs, a little bastard. He ain't laid out for a while.
Oh dear.
Catman says it never comes back. Well, I think you're right. I don't think once it's cut, I don't think it ever comes back. I think you have to turn it off and turn it back on, because I don't think it'll ever come back either.
Robin Moore in the chat asked, can analog ever freeze? And I will vouch and say that yes, it can. If someone powers on next to you, then you get a very still screen all of a sudden. And you
technically it's not frozen. You're just looking at someone's shoes for a long period of time.
Well, if it's on the ground, and it's just you just get a shot of them.
I've had my
on the floor.
I've had my what do you call it? What's the other thing? What makes stuff good? What was the bloody thing?
Another thing, what makes stuff good?
Come on, that real
Magic cream? I don't know.
Hey.
magic box that I used when racing and stuff.
box.
Clearview, fucking hell.
Clearview.
Honestly, there's that little bloke in my brain going along the corridors going, what one is it? Oh. Clearview. That. I've had that. Tony, take your top off. It's my birthday. $5. No, Jack.
Jack has to set fire to himself wherever he is.
We've got nothing to set fire to. I'm not taking. No, this is pornography and stuff. Thanks for your donation, anyway, Jack. Happy birthday.
Happy
yeah.
birthday.
So Clearview has done it to me as well. Once when I was flying the X class around Martin's track at high speed, it literally went black. It didn't freeze, and luckily it was behind me as well. I managed to get my goggles off, look behind, but I was like that far off the floor, and because it's so big, I just went like that, and it just went and slowly put it down. So saved that. But yeah, so I've got to do more tests now. So yeah, I'm just going to do more tests. Me and Danny might have been standing too close to each other as well.
Yeah,
and his quad getting in the way and stuff like that, and because we're too near. I don't know. It's weird. Hello, Bruce Holland in the chat.
Richard Warwick missed the early thing. The Stephen who from OpenHD who was supposed to come on where he is, he's had a bunch of thunderstorms. It's brought trees down and he's got no power. So his 10 kilobit per second internet link on his phone isn't going to quite do it, I'm afraid, for this show. So he's going to be back on the 6th. We were all asking questions. We researched it. We were going to ask good stuff, weren't we, Frank? It was all good. Frank came up with a snappy title.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
I'll have to push it all back.
So I had to ask Tony something about that because you broke your frame. So presumably you were taking it round to Jack's to be fixed.
Well, no, he was the only one who has any alien spares ever. As soon as I crashed it, I was online on my phone, like, where can I get anything? Nowhere. Quickly text Jack, and then it just bless you, nearly. And then just went, have you got this? And he was like, just sent a picture of it. And I was like, oh, I love you. And then looked closer and seen my top plate had snapped as well. So I texted, and then he sent another picture. So I went around there and he gave them to me and said, there you go, old chum. So it was very nice. And then told me it was, look at top off. Is it your mum who wants me to take my top off, Jack? If it is, I might do it. If it's you, no. Anyway, yeah, that was my experience. So there's no aliens in the world. Well, there is aliens, but no alien frames left. So yeah.
What frame would you go for if you didn't have? If there were no aliens left? Have you got
anything will fit the Cadex in and battery on top and kits and
practically anything. Then Well, this is what I had before. That's what I need now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the reverb. I've got a reverb as well, but I prefer the alien because it's a little bit longer. So I don't know. The Apex are the next thing, isn't it? But it's all like very expensive now. But I still like the Dreadnought, but that was designed around analog. Unfortunately, I don't think it would fit anything in. I'll have to have another look at it.
You've got the Vista, though, haven't you? Isn't that a little bit smaller than the normal air unit?
It is a bit smaller, but I'm pretty sure it won't fit. I don't know. But my Dreadnought flies lovely, so I don't want to touch that. But I could ask Greg for another one, but I don't know. I don't really know.
Well, there's Halo have been doing some stuff on frames.
Yeah, they've probably got some quite good frames, actually.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, he's doing He's flying a 3-inch at the moment, isn't he? With Cadex and stuff built in. It's like
they're definitely putting the bits in to put the DJI stuff in there, aren't they?
Yeah, look, Aries in the chat says, Tony, let me put it up on screen.
The Apex has a 2020 in the back.
Yeah, so that would fit the Calyx bit in the back. But they're quite dear, I think, the Apex stuff. I don't know. I have to see what happens. Now I've got to build up the trust on that quad again.
Yeah.
Not because it's conked out because of the DJI thing. Just, pardon me, because once you've had a crash, you know, you can get weak joints, and so hopefully we can go over them and reflow everything. And you know, you just got a quad that you trust, because that's the one what I just literally just took off and flew right out over the sea and over that ferry, and I was just like, right, I trust this quad's fine. Now I've got to build that trust up again, because there's other quads that are just like, no, I'm not going over the sea with that, and that might go in. But
what about the DJI though? What's your confidence like on that? Are you like, I'm never flying with anyone ever again?
Well, no, I think I'm just going to do more testing with Joker when I let him out of the stairs cupboard, and we go out over the field and just fly low to the ground. So if it falls down, I know where it is. Not far to walk, and it fall in grass, not straight into a gravelly, nice stony road. I did power into it though.
So you need to try and recreate your situation to see if you can get signal back, or so you get a plan.
That's what we're going to do. If not, is always just revert back to the 25, where it gives you more bandwidth because you get more channels.
Yeah, that's kind of the question, isn't it? Is it how much is it down to position, orientation, the bandwidth that it's using
next to each other,
rather?
Because I found when I was watching his, so if he flies and I tune into his channel, looking out at his quad, it's not, I get a crap picture. But if I face him, I was getting a good picture. So what I think it does is the goggles from his, I don't get it off of the quad. I get it off of his goggles.
That's interesting.
I think. Don't know, but it seemed to be better when I faced him. I was still 2 meters apart, don't worry.
And what relating to next week, what antennas are you both running on your goggles at the moment?
We were both running Menace at the bottom.
On all four, or
just the bottom? Yeah. I said to Menace, someone in the chat or someone in my YouTube said that if you put Menace on the top, they work better. And I told Greg that, and he was like, oh, that can't happen. But
because it's,
I don't know. It's another test that we could do.
Andy's done a deep dive on the DJI stuff, and because he's saying there's 2 of them that are purely receive, and 2 of them are receive and transmit.
Yeah, the bottom are the receive, which I put the Menace patch on, and the top ones are transmit and receive. So yeah, so that was a fun evening going to find my quad upside down and
in pieces,
snapped in half. Yeah, it did run though. So I powered it up, and it was run, and my GoPro didn't break. So it did its job, you know. The frame protected everything, it snapped in the right places. All the print snapped in the right places to save everything. So got to be happy with that, really. I'm just glad it wasn't near the sea or over the sea.
Yeah,
because it would have been bye how many hundreds of pounds? 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 650, 700 quid a quad, isn't it? With a 07 on.
Yeah, wow,
that would have hurt.
Yeah,
that's what you got to think about now when you're flying.
But would it really be that different on analog? Like, if you were flying over the sea with a couple of people, would you be that much more?
No, I'd still be pipping it.
Yeah.
I only like to do it when it's just me, really. I mean, when I went and flew the other day at Seaford, I was like, I made sure I went out on my own and no one else was there. So
Apart from your spotter, of course.
Oh yeah, the spotter was there. I let him out that day. But yeah, so
was it your 2-legged spotter or one of your 4-legged spotters?
2.
Oh, good.
Yeah. The 4-legged one. Then she's not allowed out, and the old boy, he's too tired now. But she's there online. Asleep.
I'm just expecting you to pan the camera, and she's just there, just doing, just giving you the eyes all the time.
She's falling asleep now.
Oh, you get a bit of peace for
Respite.
a while.
Yeah. Oh God, she's a nightmare at the moment. Yes. Dave Story in the chat. Let's change the subject quick.
What's the wing? That's the mini AR wing, but it's got it's the one that I showed a few weeks ago. It's got 2 motors, so a knee pivot using a miniaturized version of the RC Explorer motor tilt. There were old motors and old ESCs that I ripped off an old quad that had seen better days anyway. And I think, thinking back, maybe it did have an issue with one of them, and I think I probably used one of them because it was smelling of old fan heater. And then as I tested it a bit more, it started smelling of sparklers, and it was just smelling a super chap. So I decided to get some new SCs and new motors. They've arrived, but I haven't installed them yet, so I need to do that. And then hopefully it will be ready for another quick hover test. It seems stable enough, surprisingly, just stock-ish on. I mean, there's a lot of faffing around, but on RG plane, in the quad plane, tilt or the tail sitter of quad plane of RG plane. And some faffing around. But yeah, it seemed to almost hover, but just would
film it next time.
I've filmed it both times. I put it in our little private chat. I'm pretty sure.
Did you? I don't remember the hover one.
Well, it's not quite hovered. It kind of slowly sinks on full throttle, which is why I've got new ESCs and motors. But it's it encourages me. It was what I needed to know that it's not just gonna wig out and not fly. So hopefully with some more reasonably matched motors and ESCs.
So what have you been doing all day, Frank? You could have been fixing it today, couldn't you? Or have you been on a quest or something?
I've been playing on the Oculus Quest, which is there. And I was playing Shadow Point. I'm finishing that, which is a bit weird because it's obviously, well, I really like it as a game, but I didn't get on very well with the VR, so I was like determined to finish it, but I could only play it in like short sections before like having to
quick vomit.
Yeah, exactly. I know I will finish this, but also it's a really non-linear storyline, so doing it in short sections, I'm like, what the hell's going on? I have no idea. It's a bit weird, but it all made sense at the end. But I think Carrie's been out flying and had a similar level of success to Tony.
Have you been crashing as well?
Equal success to Tony, except I've got more battles. You can't see it, but I've got at least 200 individual like small cuts, and I'm still pulling fawns out my hands because I was out testing a couple of bits. I did a VTX and a camera, and I did like a couple of batteries where I was just showing VTX power, and this was using my Nazgul 5, which is pretty fast, pretty nice quad. And I thought I'm gonna turn the GoPro on and I'm gonna zip it about. And where I am, I go up in this field, and there's sort of overhanging branches, and it's good fun to get under there and do stuff. So I was doing that, and there's a couple of branches where you can't quite see it, and you have to use like your memory of it. But the Nazgul's doing quite a bit faster than the normal toothpicks. So I was going along, and I hit that branch, and it goes, and it does the old lands in the bush. So I got the quad back, and it was all thorn bushes. So I got that, but I use an individual sort of battery back beeper, because I'm swapping that between them, and that had fallen out. So I can hear this beep, beep, and I can't see it. And honestly, it's literally like, well, if the beeping was right in front of you, you'll swear it was there, but you can't see it. And there's so many little layers of, it's not even earth. It's just like compressed different layers of leaves and stuff, and you can just dig down like a foot almost in it. But because I spent so much time digging around in here, I was getting all cut up, and I eventually got the beeper back after what it felt like half an hour. It probably wasn't that long, but then I was like, brilliant, I'll go fly it again, because there's nothing wrong with the quad. And I was flying it around, and you know that thing about if you crash in a place, you have to go back there. You mustn't be scared, because you'll never do it. So I did it, but I went in the reverse, and I hit the same branch and crashed again. And it wasn't so deep that time, so I got the quad back, and I thought, you know what, let's forget that quad. I think we're destined to fail there. So I went over to do my other tests. I've got a baby Ratel. I put it on the little Lao 3. So I did a flight on that one, and that was fine. And I was using the same beeper to put on it, and I put it on, and we did another flight. And I was going sort of 500 odd meters, which, put that into legal terms, 400 feet or whatever it is, out really low, no problem. So I came back towards 100 meters of myself, and I punched up. So I was quite high because I wanted to look at the sun just to check how the camera was. And during that, I sort of flipped round and came back round, and it just said RX loss on my screen. And I was like, well, that's weird. And I was expecting the signal to come back. Like it was just must have been a momentary glitch, and nothing happened. And I was, sometimes your brain doesn't work quite as fast as you want it to. So I'm sort of, if it was like dropping for half an hour, I'd have been 15 minutes saying, that's peculiar, isn't it? I wonder why that's happening. Before I thought, I should try disarming and rearming and see if I can get it back. So I did that, and it said it went to armed, and I punched, but it was so close to the ground, it hit it, and instant like static on the screen. I was like, oh, that's a pain. But never mind. I thought it's in the middle of a field. The grass is like 4 foot high, but I've got that beeper. Except what I think happened is that beeper was beeping for so damn long while I was trying to find it out of the buried ground that the battery had run out. So I got there, and I couldn't hear a thing, and I had no battery plugged in, and a 3-inch quad in a lot of area. And I went back through the DVR footage and sort of worked out approximately where I was, and I started walking in the direction I thought it would be. And I was very lucky that the battery had in fact stayed in, and the motors were beaconing. So I just heard this very little, you hear that? And it was like completely upside down in the grass. So I wasn't getting any signal from it. We've got it back now, but there's a slight problem. If you look at this arm, it's not supposed to do that. So that has just broken there. So that's
kickstand.
A new frame there needed. But I got the quad back, but the beeper, we don't know what happened to it. So after all that effort and getting my hands all cut up retrieving the beeper, I've lost the beeper on a separate crash because it ran out of battery. It's kind of ironic to lose a beeper that basically tells you where it is. But these things happen. At least got the rest of it back.
I've heard you like beepers. Let me put a beeper on your beeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a beeper for your beeper. Yeah.
2 beepers. Well, I mean, the thing is, if I had like a couple of quads that I'd fly all the time, I wouldn't have the beeper that you put in externally. I'd have the one that you'd wired in, and then you don't have a problem with it running out of battery, because all the time you've plugged it in, it's charging, and if the battery comes out, it will start beeping. So you haven't got a problem. It's only because when I'm reviewing stuff, I tend to sort of move around quad to quad that I do this, because it's just, I can just rubber band it to the battery and it's nice and easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, use beepers, people. They're good.
Luckily I didn't have to use a beeper. I could see where mine was.
You can see the crater.
Yes, I could see bits.
The explosion.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully it should be up and running. I think. Are you fixing it? Yeah, he's fixing it.
I was going to talk about that, Tony, because it leads us up to our Tony versus Jack, the video wars, where Jack's brought out a new video.
It was a bit out of order, don't you think? Did I ever say anything? Well, the bit unsub from Tony's sub to me. I never did that.
But you did keep saying in the comments, "Boo! He doesn't even edit his own videos." And I wanted to ask you, who builds your quads for you? Is it Tony?
I can. I've done it.
Really?
There's videos of me doing it. But I hate.
They're listed on the
hate it.
comedy, I believe.
Because we did see the little Zode dart you'd put together, and that involved mainly gaffer tape.
It worked. It worked.
Did it?
Well,
You had to get Jack to fix it.
it did. It did once. It worked one fly. I just think he was going a bit too far, but I also think other people did as well, because people subscribe to me. So thanks, Jack. I got subs. I've got people feeling sorry for me.
No reason to whine then.
No. Do we know if this video actually got Jack any subs? Because that's been the long running joke, is that any video either of you two put up loses you.
Yeah, we normally lose subs.
I think Jack was just under. I think he dropped under 900 or something, hasn't he? Because now he's up to 9. Is it 920 or something? Let's have a look. Where's his video?
Yeah. So the rule is, if you put out a video without DJI, your subs goes down, and if you put a video up with DJI in the title, your subs goes up. That's the rules. We seem to have worked out from this sample of 2.
Yes. So Tony's ahead by what, 42 or something?
Oh, good boy.
Oh no, more than that. 48.
I know. I've only got. How many have I got left to go? Not a lot.
Well, you have to do 1,000 minus 967. How long do you need?
I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do on my next video.
I don't know, but I reckon it's going to have the words DJI on it.
Birds on it, everything. It's going to be a hit. See, look, people love it. Tailspin. I love building quads. Just can't afford the bits now. Oh, mate, I absolutely. It's like the worst thing ever for me.
Numbskull says, I prefer building to flying.
There's quite a lot of people that surprisingly really into the building part of it, and I guess almost if you put so much effort into the building, making it lovely, then you don't want to risk it, and they become the hanger queens, don't they?
I'm the guy who just likes flying. Like, if that's why I've got like 29 quads, because it crashes and I just go and get another one off the wall and go out with that. And if it happens again, I'll go and get another one, you know. But just like, I just don't find it at all. Just don't like it. Don't like it. Just going out and my flying is my hobby, not building. But each to their own. See, look, Winter Blue. Yeah. I enjoy building more than flying, I think.
And Rich Warwick says building is almost the best bit. I don't know how you pronounce that. Triple X Enricop. I am better at building than flying.
So no matter how you think, there's always a whole group of people that for some reason will think completely the opposite. Like, I was talking to guys at a race I went to, and you know, like loads of people prefer freestyle because it's like, you know, you just do what you like and stuff. A guy there said, "Oh, I like racing. I like being told where to go and what to do. I don't like if I have to fly on my own. I don't know what to do. I have to make up myself." So it's just like every single little niche has its complete opposites, and a whole group of people that just like doing that, which I find interesting because it takes all sorts.
It does, and I'm glad I've got friends and people understairs that help me. Like, just go around to Jack's and he'd do this and do that. He saved me so many times. I think he built the night before we done that. One of the first ever FPV flights, that indoor one we flew in that airsoft place in London.
Oh, what? Yeah, Whitechapel.
Yeah,
FPV League event in Whitechapel.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones.
Jack set fire to a thing, and I don't know where the fire extinguishers were.
Yeah, that one.
Sounds like a normal day.
That night, he built me I said to him, "It's going to be small place. I want to do good in this, and he built me a 3-inch quad.
Yeah, I
And
look
I
back
come
on that,
second.
because I was on like the starting grids, like waving people off and starting races in a high-vis in this small enclosed space full of 5-inch quads. Like that was a bad idea.
It was. That's why I knew it was going to be a small place, and I was like, right, I need to get him to build this little quad, which he did. I think it was the night before. Yeah.
Fun times though.
So yeah, it was good.
But,
so yeah, I'm glad everyone's different. To be fair,
it's funny, isn't it? Because there's like these, like you say, there's people that prefer flying and people that prefer building, but then you put those groups together against like the hardcore racers, and then you end up with like the freestylers versus the racers, and then you put like them up against the guys who do the wings, and it's quads versus wings, and then you put them together against like the socks and sandals, and then it's FPV versus line of sight, and then you put it versus the real socks and sandals, and then it's like balsa versus everything else, and then you put them together, and it's like RC versus control line and free flight and all that stuff, and then it's like drone pilots versus like manned aircraft versus the rest of the world. I know. Start as you mean to go on. There's photos of me at the first FPV event I attended in high-vis, like having not known anyone and just rocked up on the day, and like Tonga is just like, there you go, have a high-vis and an air horn. What the rough friend there.
There is, as you're saying, that there is so many little subgenres of things that people are super passionate about. There's, I suppose, the only thing we don't have in multi-copter flying is like these people are into scale, like the planes, sort of recreating the stuff. I'm sure that's just a matter of time, though.
Oh yeah.
Perhaps when they have like these manned things, they become like, I want to scale one of those, or they make those things from Avatar and try and make those fly and stuff.
Yeah. There's even like the classes of stuff that people are freestyling of, like, you got the toothpicks or the tiny whoops or the X class or the beach class.
And even within the toothpicks, you got people saying, well, that's not really a toothpick. It's a bit like the whoop saying that's not a whoop because it's not 65 mil. Yeah, it's 75, but it's got the ducks. Doesn't matter. Doesn't count.
Yeah. I know. I used to love my little. Do you remember I used to fly a toothpick before toothpicks were toothpicks? Do you remember Dan Upton made that little quad, and I used to take it racing in that indoor place? I loved that little thing, 2S. I need to get him to fix that.
I remember back in like
see what I mean? I won't fix it.
It must have been 2015. There was the owl, the FPV owl frame that was like one of the earliest tiny at the time brushless. Like everyone was doing like 250s and calling them mini quads, and and there was this that was like basically toothpick size, but it was. And everyone was like, "Nah, that's stupid."
I must have had quite an early one because I got this thing, Hobby King, back when we used to use Hobby King, had this mini quad, and it was this very small fiberglass frame, which you had to like assemble, and it had these little 2S 1804 motors or something, and it was just because I had it at the same time I had my DJI 450, and they didn't have the mini quad in between then, and that was kind of a pig. I'd sort of FTPV'd it, and I changed over so many things. I remember I had to sort of build my own VTX out of components because no one did one small enough.
What?
You could buy the individual board, and then you had to sort of connect things to it and stuff to try and make it a little bit lighter. But every time you even crashed it a bit, the fiberglass just would, so it's just like super glue it back together. It'd be fine. Just carry on doing it. Because that had I think a KK, either a KK or KK2 in there. That's how bad it was. It's funny. I always remember fondly flying these things and thinking this is great. it was so easy and smooth back then. But when I look back at the video, I was like, how did I keep that in the air? It looks horrendous. The rose tinted spectacles are very big with FPV stuff.
They are. Has anyone gone back 4 or 5 years and looked at their old footage and gone, oh my God? Even when I look back, I don't know, a year and a half, some of my stuff, I'm like, God, I thought that was quite good. But like on the Session 5 and the stuff, even the Session 5 looks crap now compared to the 7.
So everything is hyper smoothed out, isn't it?
Well, not just that, just the better camera, just the quality and stuff. Because I used to be able to fly my KISS freestyle stuff quite smoothly, but looking back on the footage, it's just the session is just, I don't know. I've still got 2 sessions that I don't use anymore. I'll probably, I use them for other things when I'm doing vlogs or anything like that, but. Just the tech changes so quick. We'll be looking back at stuff now in a couple of years' time and going, oh, what a crap. Like I'm doing.
Hopefully we'll be saying, oh, can you believe they could only fly for 4 minutes instead of the hour we can do now? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I look forward to those days.
We'll be bored, though.
I'm looking forward to it. Can you really believe we used to have to organise who was flying on what channel? That's all I want.
That'd be nice.
Well, we don't have to do that if you're DJI.
Yeah, but your signal might go out for like 15 seconds.
Only on 50 megabits. When you go to 25, I think it's all right.
So you think it'd be interesting to see. It'd be good to see if you can recreate that and find out what it is.
I'm going to do that. But I've seen
perhaps instead of your normal chair, you should have a spinny chair, and then you can spin to see if it changes if you're facing different ways.
Puke up then. It took me a little while to get used to the goggles anyway. I think DJI knew people were going to go from small screens to big. I've said it before. They had that. I fly on the 4x3 setting because the 16:9 was just like puke fest. I would have just took off and hurled everywhere. So I put it on 4x3, which I like flying with anyway because I prefer that than that. And then you can even make it smaller in the screen. So, like I said before, I think I took it down to 70. And it was still massive. And then every other flight, I've just been putting it up one. So now I've got it up to 100% in 4x3. Still looks massive to me. You literally have to look around the screen. Your eyes literally have to move to look at stuff. Whereas on my Fat Shark stuff, they didn't really do anything.
Some info from Bloods there about standing 6 meters apart, which sounds quite a distance, that isn't it? It's good. About 18, 20 feet, something?
That's what I think happened. That's what we're going to try to stand together, go to our local flying field and see if it happens again. Literally just following each other. So there was that as well, being that close to each other and having all the signal coming out and 700 milliwatts and standing next to each other. Yeah, so we are going to try doing that a bit, see what happens, recreate it, I think.
Can we talk about?
Sorry,
I was just. You were social distancing whilst holding hands. Can we talk about this clip that seems to be all over the place and has become a bit of a meme about this guy who appeared to be flying around a horse that then charges into him, rightly so, and knocks him absolutely flying? Does anybody know the story behind that? What is going on? Do we know?
Where was his spotter? That's what I can say. If you had a spotter,
filming him getting hit by a horse
towards you, move.
I think I've seen in passing a comment that I think was by him, or it might have been a description of one of the videos or something, that he said they'd been doing it as like an actual paid gig, and they'd done 3 goes of it already. Or they'd done 2, and this was the 3rd one that he just wanted on the 3rd one because it had gone so smoothly on the previous 2. He literally told his spotters to go back there and get some nice footage of it from back there, so he had a nice thing for his his own pilot role. And it was on that one that
it's now cemented in concrete on the internet.
Yeah, that he managed to spook the horse into him.
It's slightly crazy because that is not an unsubstantial horse, and I've been flying around the New Forest area, which has ponies, and at certain seasons of the year, they get what I would describe as frisky. So they all start sort of galloping around to prove how impressive they are. And I was like flying a plane. I started hearing hooves like going down, and my initial reaction immediately was flick plane into autopilot, get the goggles up, find out where the damn horses are in case they're going to trample me to death, and get out of the way. And that thing was so close to him. I don't know what was going through his mind. Was he thinking, "Oh, this is going to look amazing. Hey, who's that guy there?" Splat.
Well, there was also like, it was like, for my money anyway, the quad seemed pretty close to where he was.
Yeah.
Like,
Why didn't he move?
He appeared to be corralling the horse into himself.
Yeah. Oh no. This is what happens when you fly around nature, people. Don't do it.
Yeah, too close.
I reckon it was for a Lloyd's advert. That's my guess.
Yeah. Probably. Do you mind if I pause myself and go and get a beer?
You go.
I'll try to be very quick.
All right then.
So, how much of an effort was it editing Jack's video?
It was quite a lot of effort. We started back at that when we were doing the oddball competition, and I said, "Why haven't you entered your Mavic as the oddball?" And he's like, because I'm done a video. I'm going. Well, I was like, give me the footage and I'll drag something out of it, which got, and then it took several hours for Jack to go into deep storage through all these various porn hard disks and stuff until he could find that. And then when we got it, there were bits missing, and we didn't really have an explanation or a timeline. So yeah, it took a while because we had Jack's footage. Then I needed to get Jack to do a voiceover, which I had to capture from me asking him stuff over Discord and then recording it on my computer. And then the amount of sound edits go into the hundreds because there's only a certain amount of times people will put up with, like, at the end of every sentence.
He does.
So if you look at the edits on the sound, it's like all these little lines. These are all like, I'll just take 2 seconds out there because that's just that. So if Jack sounds a little bit robotic, it's because I had to cut a lot. So
yeah,
a good few hours of work, but it sort of got there. I mean, I think it's a good story that needs to be told, and I really do hope he gets out there and actually flies it and sorts out the FPV camera, because we didn't get any DVR footage because it didn't exist apparently. And as far as I know, the footage of them crashing in the warehouse they didn't manage to film for some reason.
I was looking forward to that. It was like on the video, it was like, and it made a really loud noise, and I was like, come on then, Sheldon, make a fucking mistake. Nothing. I was like, oh,
there you go. He's saying he's sorted the cam out. Good, go fly it, DVR footage
with some DVR, yeah. And then immediately send the DVR to Curry before you lose it. This is something that...
Don't let Sheldon fly it, else it will crash.
And don't let me look after the footage either. It doesn't work either.
No. These are all bad things.
Well, no, I don't think anyone's going to be flying Saturday. Have you seen the weather for Saturday? Typically on a weekend.
It looks bad for the weekends.
I think that's good building weather.
I think it's going to be a bit windy. I think we've got wind, and then Saturday is going to be rainy and wet. I have got a waterproof cord. Could fly that.
How waterproof is waterproof?
I've flown it in pissing down rain.
Can you fly it in the sea?
I don't know. Not the sea.
There's only one way to find out.
I wouldn't risk the sea. I'd risk.
Which quad is this? How is it waterproof? Is it?
I literally covered it in that nail polish stuff, and then it's a old fossil plastic.
Gravity.
One up from that FX.
And then FSX or something.
FSX, and then I've So I've coated everything, and then I've literally glue gunned everything. It's just glue everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's how they officially like waterproof submarines and that. Just some guy goes through over glue gun. It's like, this will be fine. It's a hold.
I've flown it in the really hard rain and put Rain X on the camera, on the FPV camera and everything, and it worked. Yeah.
I suppose there's only two problems with flying in the rain. One is, does that Rain X work on the lens? Can you get a clear view through it?
If you put
and
Rain
the other,
X,
does it just run straight off and doesn't sit there?
Yeah, going at good speed.
So
Like,
the 5.8 signal through the rain doesn't work that well, does it?
Not very well, but
and you have to sit out in the rain on your chair. How's that?
Not very nice. I actually flew it from my van.
Ah.
Van and flew it on my car. It was all right. It worked. So yeah, I can actually fly in the rain with one of my quads, and two of my racers are all coated. So
Winter Blue mentioned doing a Tupper quad. I would like, having seen the one that Bradley did for LDO during games with the windscreen wiper. I would quite like to do another one of those.
That was good.
I like the idea of the windscreen wipers.
Yeah, he just did it with like a servo tester and a servo and like a paperclip. Did the job-ish.
It worked very well.
Yeah. I'd like to have a go using like magnetic couplings as well. So you almost like putting the stator of a brushless motor on the inside and just having the rotor on the outside with the magnets. So then
I see.
You literally only the magnets are outside. And then you only got to worry about the bearings.
That would be pretty cool if you get it to work.
Because it may or may not be something that I might have had something to do with at work for some other things. So I might see what I can do about that. But again, that's on the long list of projects.
Well, it's raining Saturday, so
about it.
I commission you to finish that.
The wing is the main thing. Wing is it's also
because if you get that to work, you're going to be famous. You'll get to 1,000 subs before me and Jack.
Well, I'd have to actually make a video about it that's more than just, oh, look, it works.
Yeah. But... Well, we've got Curry Kitten now to do it. You know, Curry Kitten, he's going to ask you every time he goes flying, can you edit a video for me?
Well, I think he feels suitably indebted because he keeps offering to buy me stuff all the time. But that's like, come on, get on with it. Edit stuff.
Bless.
But there's some stuff in the chat about so Winter Blue's got a couple of other things he's mentioned.
I haven't seen this one about Hobby King.
No, I hadn't seen this. So
I guess this would be the FCC regulations. I noticed if you look at like AKK, who are selling like 1,500 milliwatt VTXs, they do a US version, which only goes up to 1,000 only, and remove some of the channels. So I'm guessing, is that right, Winter Blue, that they were selling stuff where you could tune into the channels you're not supposed to, or maybe went over power? So that's quite a hefty fine.
So what Winter Blue was just saying was that the FCC has fined Hobby King $2.8 million for selling non-compliant VTXs. But I know that there's definitely a precedent for that in the UK as well, because I believe Radio C had a similar problem with the Ofcom, because that's, Ofcom generally don't really care about what you're actually broadcasting. They're more interested about the dealers of such equipment. And so when they're on a listing, it says, you can do 1 million watts or whatever, then they're not too happy about that. And they will occasionally make an example of people selling that kind of.
Do you think, in your super knowledge base as man of all knowing stuff, is Ofcom or the FCC okay if basically the VTX comes locked but can be unlocked?
That's the entire reason for locking VTXs.
So then the onus becomes on the user, and it's their fault instead of the actual distributor.
exactly. So that's
Well,
why,
if it stays like that, I'm happy with that.
that's why, with the CBS stuff, you have to go through all the faff with unlocking it. With the immersion RC stuff, you got to have the God mode or whatever it is, the advanced God mode on the wand to be able to unlock it. But that's why they do all that, is so that the hardware is legal to sell and isn't going to get people into trouble.
Well, that's fine as long as they keep doing that, because if I had all my DJI kit and I run it legally, which I do in
Clearly.
the UK, I wouldn't bother with it if I had to run it legally.
It's weird that I know
It's not
Simon was on Simon Dowell I'm talking about here yonks ago, said he had meetings with Ofcom and stuff, and one of the things he tried to do was suggest like a 200 milliwatt limit, raising from 25, because you can do an awful lot on 200, but 25 is that thing where it's not about range, but it's easy to get knocked out by something else if it exists. But they weren't having it. They weren't even going to budge a milliwatt on that at all. So we're still stuck on a very low wattage over here in the UK. But I think the US, if you've got your amateur radio like operator license, which is like the first stage of it, then you can go to 1,000 milliwatts
I
on
think
5.8.
it should be. I think they should look into it again a bit more. If you're in the middle of nowhere, I'm happy. I was happy with Signal flying close to you, racing and stuff. 25 milliwatts, perfect, because you can get loads of people on it and everyone gets a good picture. But if you're in the middle of nowhere and you want to do something that I want to, that I did on my last video, you can get anywhere and it would just be pants. And like, who's in the middle of nowhere doing it, using that? No one.
Yeah, it was one of the things I want to talk about with our OpenHD guest, because of course they're not using analog video. They're using essentially a Wi-Fi link. Does this mean all bets are off and you can do what you like? Hopefully.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We'll find out on the 6th.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what this perennial question that I've wanted to know for years, which is like, at what point do you draw the line between digital and analog? At what point do you get to use, the whole spectrum of radio that's allowed for Wi-Fi, and how far can it go? I don't know the kind of legal side of that at all. Whether it's, is it specifically the Wi-Fi technology that you have to license to be able to use that all that bandwidth, or is it a technical specification that you have to meet? Or I don't know any side of that. If anyone does know anything about that, get in touch. We'd like to know more. In fact, if you've got any ideas of things that you'd like to see on the show, any topics you'd like to see us cover, anything like that, then next week after the show, so it's Thursday the 30th, after the main show that we'll be putting on with Menace, we will be having an after show bonus podcast for our patrons, where we will be working out what we're going to do in the month of August, and we're going to try and have a go at putting together ideas for shows like more than 6 hours before the show. So that'll be interesting. So if you've got ideas,
it'd be interesting if people like wondering where the phrase "couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery" came from, which is essentially us lot trying to actually have a meeting and organise anything in advance.
Yeah, essentially.
You got to remember, we've been doing this 4 and a bit years.
Yeah.
We've done every single pilot who's famous. We've done that. We've been there, done that. We've pretty much done everyone.
We've at least asked, even if we've been told no, go away. We've
done a lot of people. We did it at the start. We did it a long time ago. So it's all there. If you want to listen to it or watch it, you still can. Back in the day, stuff.
Early days of Rotor Riot. We were the first place that had Rotor Riot on outside of their own channel, I believe, because we were the testing ground.
Yep.
So Numbskull FPV is saying get Tony Cake or Trappy on. We've had Tony on a couple of times, haven't we? Have we ever had Trappy on?
Trappy's been on, but I think he was on Jack's channel when he was an LDO channel.
Before my time.
Yeah, it was. But yeah. See, people
4.5 years seems much longer.
We're
Thanks, Android.
Sorry, dude. Like we can quit if you want. We only literally do this for you guys every Thursday and for people listening to the podcast. I hope you're still enjoying it.
256th hour of live broadcast, vaguely drone related, maybe sometimes weekly show.
So that's about 500 hours of us lot just yapping on afterwards when no one's here to watch.
Exactly. That if you want to know where all the good stuff is, it's once we've hit stop. Then
it's mostly before or after the actual show. And we're like, oh, we should have had this on the show, shouldn't we?
And get involved with all that and help us with the editing and getting some more money. For literally none of us get any of the money. It just goes back into LDO.
It pays for the website. It pays for the hosting of the website, the hosting of the podcast, the editing of the podcast.
Yeah.
It pays for the occasional bits of merch and things that we can put out so that we can get that stuff made if we do that. But we've now got the shop so that we don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, hopefully we'll be having, some more events and meetups and things when that kind of stuff can happen again. Because there's definitely a venue that would be happy for us to have about 15 people coming along and spending a weekend at their site and flying around with some interesting places. So that will be happening some point.
Are we going to do that? Is that a late August?
I think probably maybe sometime around then, maybe to be confirmed.
So we can meet some of our people who are in the chat if they come along. Oh, that'd be cool because it's weird when you see people's names like this.
Mr. Fruity Cakes, yes.
And actually putting a face to the name and stuff. I'd like that. I'd like that. That'd be cool. Yeah, we only do it for you guys, so hopefully
we've got nothing to set on fire.
Oh, thank you, Zero.
Super sticker.
Jack's not here, so we can't light him, or we've literally got nothing to light. And I'm not getting my nipples out.
Richard Warwick asks, where roughly? North of me, south of NJ, east of both of us.
It could be anywhere.
North
Jack,
of
I'll send you a picture of me half naked so you can. Oh, I know what he's going to do. He just wants to put it on the internet because he
wants
payback.
You should do top off with the cowboy hat on for Max Gayness to see how that looks.
It's not gay wearing a cowboy hat. I've got a rocking chair as well in my garden. Is that gay? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
This is your you must have a hotkey for this comment. Like you just press a button and it just comments under Facebook or something gay. So he's talking.
I just said I'm going to send your mum a picture of me topless. There you go, Jack. That's all I'm doing. Baby photos.
Yeah, Tony got told off by Jack's mum just before the show.
He's put that over the internet. It's private. And I'm like, well, why did you put it on the internet then, Jack's mum? Nothing's private once it's on the net. Anyway.
Yeah. So, Tony, do you want to give us a brief summary, a teaser of what's going to be happening next week?
I thought you were going to say my nipple. I want a brief taste. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we're having Greg on. He's in Spain at the moment, but he should be going home and then coming on. he may give stuff away. You never know. He always surprises me and gives stuff away. So fingers crossed, he might do a giveaway. So yeah, he'll be talking about. He's actually got the new.
Is this Tony's NDA filter going on now?
Well, he did. I think he did post a picture of a new linear patch, didn't he, on Instagram?
That's out, and then he's. I don't know how much I can say. There's something else. I don't know because there's
great. It's like Andy RC's here and watching him squirm all over again.
No, I know. It's because Painless has something to do with it as well. So it'd be good to see if we can get Painless on with Greg. Because it was something that Painless had an idea and kept pestering Greg for about 2 years. And Greg finally said, yes, I'll do it. And I think it's in the pipeline or out soon. So
I know of at least one thing that Lee's been pestering Menace about for a while.
Well, then you probably know what I do.
Okay.
Well, I'm out of the loop. Looking forward to knowing.
Well, again, we shall save the best for the after show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening or watching this 256th hour of LDO nonsense. Join us again next week. We'll be speaking to Greg from Menace, and then for our patrons, we will be having an after show next week where we work out what we're doing in the month of August. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.